Welcome back, Pokemon fans. Angel of the Night here. We are back again with another viewer battle, and today's battle is against Vincent in a 6-on-6 doubles battle. Also, hooray for Adobe Premiere errors. I don't know why that happens in my post-editing, but for some reason it doesn't resize properly. But that's okay, doesn't affect battle any. We're getting into the battle here, 6-on-6 doubles. Our opponent actually leads off here with a Tyranitar and a Garchomp. Likely a Sandvale Chomp, and that's actually a pretty decent lead. We've got Great Tusk and Corviknight with us. Now, of course, these are two Pokemon that I don't use very often, but we're going to go in for the Ice Spinner here into the Garchomp. Luckily, we were able to hit it, especially in the sand. They're going to go for the Swords Dance, boost up the attack stat of that Chomp, and of course, we're going to try to set up the Tailwind here while we are at it. So that way it boosts up the speed of the entire team for approximately 5 turns. Tyranitar going in for the Dragon Claw here, not really effective onto the Great Tusk. And of course now we're going to try to take out that Garchomp again with another Ice Spinner. But this time we're also going to go for the Body Press into the Tyranitar, as it is a super effective move. Now luckily we were actually able to hit the Garchomp for the second time under sand. Something you don't often see very often is being able to take out Chomp in sand. Sandvale is just way too common. Body Press, of course, super effective into the Tyranitar and managing to pick up the KO. Now, I don't really usually use these two Pokemon. They're not really my favorites. However, I will say that the shiny for Great Tusk is far superior to the original. You guys can fight me on that. Gray scaled Corviknight also is pretty cool compared to the original. Vincent is going to bring out another Pokemon here. He's going to bring out his Groudon. That is actually going to be able to change the sand to sun. And then, of course, there's also the Ditto out. Doesn't look like it's going to be an Imposter Ditto, so it does actually have to pick up the Transform attack and basically choose which Pokemon he wants to transform into. Now, of course, with the Great Tusk, we do have Close Combat. We also have Ice Spinner. I think we're just going to go in for the Ice Spinner into the Groudon, and of course, we're going to go for the Body Press again into the Ditto. Luckily, we were actually able to outspeed the Groudon here and get a decent Ice Spinner off onto it. Body Press is going to be able to pick up the KO onto the Ditto, and of course we are not going to see any transformation here in this battle. Groudon, of course, is going to go in for the Eruption. Probably not the best choice of an attack, considering that you've already lost some damage, but I mean, he would have been locked in originally and probably thought he was going to be able to outspeed. But Eruption, I don't know if Eruption over Heat Wave is better or not, but it kind of depends on the Groudon. I apologize if you guys can hear my chair clicking. For some reason, it's making some noises. Guess I'm too heavy for the chair, maybe, or the chair's just really worn out. I have no idea. But Necrozma is going to come in here next, and of course, this is it's not Duskmane, but this is the other variant. Honestly, I can't think of what this Necrozma form is actually called. I apologize. I know it's Dusk something, but we're going to go in for the attack here. I did select the Brave Bird for the Corviknight. We're going to try to go in for, I think it was the Garchomp, actually. We're going to go in for the Terrestrialization here with the Great Tusk, and of course we're just going to go in for the Pure Ground. Hopefully we don't actually get hit by any kind of like a Solar Beam or anything. That could actually be pretty brutal. We're going to go in for the Headlong Rush. That is going to be targeted directly into the Necrozma. Luckily, we were able to get some decent amount of damage off, and it looks like it's holding on to like 1 HP at this time. Very unusual, but we didn't get the KO here. We went for the Brave Bird into the Groudon. We were hoping to maybe get a little bit more damage. Unfortunately, we are going to get hit by another Eruption. Of course, as you have less HP, the Eruption doesn't really do any massive damage. There's the Photon Geyser taking up the KO with the Great Tusk, and that is the first Pokemon out on the team so far. Okay, sun is still bright. We're going to get a little bit of leftovers there with our Corviknight. Obviously, it is leftover Chinese food, because obviously if it was Thai food, there would be absolutely no leftovers. I know I say that very, very much and very often, but I really like Thai food. So that is my leftovers go-to if there are any. But everybody always has leftover Chinese food. We're going to go in with the Fluttermane here at this point. I know the food talk doesn't really matter, but anyways, Fluttermane onto the field. Fluttermane is definitely a big bad in any kind of format. You don't really want to mess with it, but as you guys can see, the attacks on this team are a little bit different. We're going to go in with a Shadow Ball, obviously, into the Necrozma, and we're going to pick up some damage off onto the Groudon again. But Shadow Ball just knocking it out. It didn't really have very much HP left, which was okay. And here's another Eruption. Both Pokemon should be able to live this, no problem. I'm kind of wondering if maybe Groudon's maybe locked in basically by like some sort of like a band or something, but it's not. It's actually getting leftovers here, so I'm kind of confused as to why you would still stay in with Eruption. Maybe because the sun and whatnot, but it doesn't really do well the less HP you have. So Vincent, if you hear this or see this battle, maybe have some other kind of fire-based moves, maybe like a flamethrower or something, or maybe like a heat crash, something that may actually be able to do a little bit more damage. Okay, looks like Jet Butt's coming in here. That is a Miraidon. And luckily we do have our Fluttermane here as a Fairy-type Pokemon. I'm hoping that'll actually help out. We're going to go in and try to set up another Tailwind while we're at it. There is a Terrestrialization coming in from Vincent's side. It is for the Miraidon going into Pure Dragon. Dragon probably wouldn't be my choice. I really like Fairy Miraidon. That's definitely a great Pokemon to counter Fairy types with. There's the Draining Kiss that actually does a ton of damage onto good old Jet Butt there. And of course that's going to regain a little bit of our HP back. If you guys hadn't noticed, of course, there's a Train Up, of course. So that's going to boost up the electric type moves from the Miraidon. That whole electric terrain comes out as soon as you bring in your Miraidon. Here comes another Eruption. Again, not really an ideal situation here with this Eruption. I feel like Groudon is kind of just a placeholder at this point. Just kind of like, you know, it's just like a body for something to like hit. in this Wi-Fi battle. I don't really feel like it's doing very much. Pretty much at this point, Miraidon's out. It's a pure dragon type, so I'm thinking to myself, well, I'll bring in a Azumarill at this time. Azumarill is a fairy type Pokemon. I have two fairy types out here, but again, it is also a water type Pokemon, so it could actually get some damage from those electric type moves. So we're going to lock into a move there with the Fluttermane, and of course we're going to go for the attack with the Azumarill. Fake Tears, of course, is going to drastically lower the special defense of the Miraidon. There's a Wild Charge coming into the Azumarill. We actually managed to survive, and of course there's a little bit of recoil damage there going into the Miraidon. Luckily for us, we actually still have a berry with the Azumarill, a citrus berry that's going to boost up our health back. And here comes that Eruption again. Yeah, Eruption. Critical hit onto the Fluttermane this time. We get the play rough off onto the Jet Butt there. And of course, the Groudon is the last and final remaining Pokemon, the sole survivor of Vincent's team. Okay, the sunlight is faded now. Of course, the terrain is still up. And a little bit of leftovers going into Groudon there. Okay, here we go. We are going to go in and choose our move. We're going to go for the Draining Kiss, and then of course we are going to go for the Aqua Jet. I was really hoping that Aqua Jet was going to be able to pick up a KO here, but it does not look like that's going to be possible. There's the Draining Kiss, and that is going to be a match. So Vincent, good game. Thank you very much for the battle. And I hope you guys are all enjoying these viewer battles. I'll be back to streaming there probably within the next month or so. Just trying to get a lot of videos edited at this time, but check it out, guys. Viewer battles.